What's up, y'all? This is your girl Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen to all of my subscribers. But if this is your first time joining me on today, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, okay? Go ahead and handle that for me because you know you want to. Also, if you're interested in scheduling a birth chart reading, go ahead and hit me up at astroworld@gmail.com. I'll put the email in the description box below and you can see it here on the screen also. So hit me up and we can get you squared away, honey. So with that being said, tonight I am going to do a reading on Mr. Lil Fizz, or AKA Drew, as he likes to be called these days, aka my former baby Zaddy, because he used to be my favorite B2K member back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And nowadays, Fizz is one of those personalities that, like, you kind of wish you didn't really know who he was, you know what I'm saying? Some celebrities do well with, like, reality television, and they have very personable, shiny, engaging, charismatic, charming kind of personalities. Drew doesn't. He comes off as an asshole, and he comes off as very insecure, almost as if he's hiding something. And I took a look at his chart, his birth chart, and you know, I want to talk about something that he's hiding. And if you know how I know, like I know about the things that, I'm saying, took place within that entire group of B2K, from the allegations of rape and abuse at the hands of their manager. I was going to say Scott Storch. No, that's the nigga who played the piano. What's his name? Chris Stokes. At the hand of Chris Stokes. you know, certain kinds of abuse can have lasting effects. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So Lil Fizz was born on November 26, 1985, once again making him like the 50th Sagittarius that we've done a reading on. Like, literally, I'm this is getting ridiculous. I promise y'all I am not like intentionally seeking Sagittarius people to kind of do readings on. It's literally just happening like this. It's weird. So his sun is in the 4th degree of Sagittarius, and his moon is in the 25th degree of Taurus. Now, right off rip, well, first of all, let me paint this picture here, okay? And the picture is, I think Fizz, I mean, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community myself, and as somebody who has grown up in the community and who has seen a lot of things and who has a finely tuned gaydar that I really take pride in, Fizz shows a lot of symptoms and qualities and traits and characteristics of a man who is at the very least bisexual, and at most, right, a full-blown gay man. And I say this because we see him on Love and Hip Hop, we see him on Marriage Boot Camp, and during these shows he's engaging in these very superficial relationships, and they're kind of toxic, especially with Moniece, his baby's mother. So he's engaging in these toxic relationships with women, and then it's almost as if, like, you can tell he's not emotionally involved, right? And we can attribute a lot of this to him being a Sagittarius sun, just because that Sagittarius energy, especially in men, enjoys adventure, exploration, and it doesn't want to be tied down. His sun is conjoined to his Mercury, as well as his Saturn and his Uranus. So he has some solid Sagittarian energy in his chart. So yes, to a certain degree, we can attribute him not really being able to commit. You see what I'm saying? To a solid situation. We can go ahead and attribute some of that to that. However, like I said, it's the manner in which it's almost as if he's like uncomfortable around women. Y'all drop down in the comment section. Let me know if you've seen this. Like if you feel me on this. I sense a bit of awkwardness, a bit of discomfort around women that you typically only detect when you're dealing with a man who is unsure of himself and unsure of his sexuality. And I can't explain it. I can't explain it. But if y'all know what I mean, you know what I mean. One of the major indicators, like red flags, so to speak, whatever, that I see in his chart is that he has a lot of Scorpio activity. He's a Scorpio South Node. So the first thing I should point out about that is that Scorpio South Nodes tend to attract lots of abuse, sexual abuse, domination, and it can work both ways. So these people tend to, because that Scorpio is the natural ruler of the eighth house, right? So it rules death, it rules rebirth, sex, taboo, things that are unspoken and not really seen in the light of day, and things, secrets, you know what I'm saying? Traumatic secrets. And it's the perfect breeding ground for very intense, traumatic, taboo kind of experiences. So these people can attract lots of abuse. And they can be people who can go on to perpetuate abuse. R. Kelly has the same lunar nodal placement also. And in Fizz's case, his Venus, as well as his asteroid Juno and his Pluto, are all conjoined to his South Node. Now, this could deal with, especially with his Venus being conjoined to his South Node, it can deal with, him being, attractive and being this very good looking guy, right? Even somebody who gains a lot of notoriety, right? It may be somebody who gains notoriety but just for their looks alone. Hence, I mean, the reason he was put in B2K in the first place, because the nigga halfway couldn't rap, and I know he can't sing. But that's neither here nor there. This placement actually creates somebody who has a love life that's in a constant state of turmoil, and they often are plagued by feelings of unfulfillment. They feel very kind of like blah about their attachments to women. You see what I'm saying? And that's the reason why, like I was saying, like it's a different type of energy signature than a guy who is just like, he just loves women, but he's a player. It's almost like women bore him. And with his North Node being in, I think this is the 7th degree. Hold on. The 7th degree of Taurus, he has a karmic responsibility to kind of find the value within himself. Enough so that he has the confidence to kind of do the work and live out his own dreams and his own passions, and just kind of be comfortable with himself in his own right. And a part of him being comfortable with himself would entail him letting go of past traumas, because this placement screams of somebody who has been the victim of abuse, or the subject of somebody who abused their authority in a very just immoral and disgusting way. And therefore these people, especially Scorpio South Nodes in general, can carry that with them. They carry those wounds with them, and it in turn impacts the way that they treat the people around them. And I think that in Fizz's case, especially with his Venus being conjoined to his South Node, this could even result in situations to where it's like he's questioning, like he's developed this obsession of like questioning his sexuality. Maybe he secretly feels like he has to manipulate the public and put up a facade. Because another trait of this aspect is somebody who feels like they're a victim of other people's misconceptions, like they have to masterfully craft a disguise. Like, they don't really want people seeing who they really are. And he could absolutely be using women as to cover that insecurity up. And although I'm not saying that he's just 100% gay, he may very well like vagina. Okay, I'm not. I mean, he has a kid. I mean, a lot of people have kids who are gay, but you get my point. So I'm not saying that he's one way or the other, but I am saying that it's something there, and a lot of it stems from past abuse. Now, just to be on the record with it, he's never admitted to being abused. In fact, nobody in the group, with the exception of Raz B, has ever come out publicly and admitted, oh, okay, yeah, Chris Stokes abused me and did this. And that's kind of what makes it so disheartening, because they definitely left Raz B out on the limb, especially now that we're in the Me Too era and everybody's, oh, me too, oh yeah, girl, me too, I did it too, and everybody's rallying around all of these victims. When Raz B came out back in 2010 telling the world about the horrendous things that Chris Stokes and Marcus Houston used to have them doing to each other, it was like everybody in the group literally just denounced them. There was a video that Fizz made online where he's like, yeah, he's a faggot. I don't fuck with faggots. I don't hang with faggots. Says like every nigga who's secretly gay. Like, come on now. Like, you see what I'm saying? So, it's so many signs. And looking at his chart, especially his lunar nodal placements, it says a lot. So I'm very inclined to believe that Fizz was absolutely a victim of this abuse, okay? And I don't care what he says. The stars don't lie. And also with his Juno being conjoined to his South Node as well, there just is overall this theme of dysfunction coming from women. A lot of turbulent relationships by way of women. And my intuition tells me that this is because he's not meant to be with a woman. Hence, all of this activity in his South Node. And in astrology, your South Node, it encompasses the things that our souls have already done before, right? Been there, did that in a previous life. Or if you don't believe in reincarnation, okay, I did that earlier in life, right? But as you get older, these same qualities and traits and these habits and things that you're super comfortable with are going to grow to create lots of issues for you, right? They're going to present themselves as problems to the point where you have no choice but to let go and start developing some of the traits of your North Node, okay? And I think that he just has a lot of karmic baggage surrounding women. And actually, this could even point towards Drew being a woman in a previous life, to be honest. And he does act very cis. He acts very much cis, very catty, very moody, very just like, ugh. So, I mean, hey. Another dead giveaway is the fact that his Mars is in the 18th degree of Libra. That number 18 deals with hypersexuality, and it could produce some very peculiar inclinations. Let's just put it that way. And then in the sign of Libra, Libra is a very wishy-washy sign, in the sense that a lot of people who have, especially men with lots of Libra energy in their chart, depending on other placements and what side of of the spectrum they're resonating with, these men can be very going both ways. They can be sexually fluid. Oh yeah, and then his Mars is enshrined to his Jupiter, and his Jupiter is at the 11th degree of Aquarius. Surprise, surprise. Aquarius is the sign of homosexuality and perversion. So I mean, this could, and actually Mars square Jupiter is a blackmail aspect. So this could even be him being blackmailed about his sexuality at some point throughout his career. And there could also be a very strong, almost like primal attraction to men. You know what I'm saying? Jupiter enlarges everything that it touches. So that 18 energy compounded with the fact that it's, Mars, compounded by the fact, like, Libra is very indecisive. Okay, this could be him feeling like he wants women one minute and feeling like he wants men another minute, and just kind of ping ponging and being back and forth. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that this aspect is very telling. His Mars is also enshrined to his Chiron, and his Chiron is in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is another one of those signs that has very gay kind of inclinations, or bisexual, let's say, because it is the sign of duality. Gemini needs a twin, and it's also very easily bored, right? It needs to be constantly stimulated, and it's very just kind of like, it's non-discriminative in where it seeks, pleasure. So with his Mars being enshrined to his Chiron, this could also definitely reinforce him having two sides, living two different lives. Now, I don't have his birth time, and I always say with Chiron, it's going to be very telling what house that the Chiron is placed in, because it can clarify a lot, and it can also change the way that the Chiron is being expressed. But yeah, this could definitely be somebody who's living a double life, so to speak, talking out of both sides of their neck. And with his sun being conjoined to his Saturn, this could deal with him growing up with a very eminent, domineering male presence. I would argue that this would be Chris Stokes. And Raz B, during his admission, when he was just basically confessing to the type of conditions that they grew up in, he made it very clear that they literally were micromanaged. This could be Fizz growing up, like, living under the thumb of a domineering older male. And it's also worth mentioning that Fizz's Uranus is conjoined to the fixed star Sabik, okay? And Sabik is a star that deals with people who experience a lot of misfortune through women, but also a sense of deviancy when it comes to their interests, right? The things that they're into. So when you look at the fact that his Uranus is aspecting, his Uranus is in opposition to his Chiron. So that just reinforces once again his inclination towards, living that double life. There's more to what he likes than he's letting us on to. And that Gemini, his Gemini Chiron, is in the 12th degree of victimization, and even it deals with sacrifice too. So sacrificing your identity, sacrificing your likes and your true self, your sexuality. And this theme of him sacrificing his sexuality is actually reinforced with his sun being in opposition to his Chiron also. Your sun is your identity, the things, that your ego, right? His Jupiter is squaring his Pluto, which reinforces the theme of him being taken advantage of by somebody in the industry, somebody in his peer, his group, you know what I'm saying? And it also really just compounds that element of manipulation, that element of just kind of like, I would even say self-deprecation, like self-deprecating kind of behavior. Viz could definitely be somebody who punishes himself. And if you want to be honest, I think there's no greater form of self-punishment than suppressing your sexuality. Catch those T's. So yeah, I didn't want to go over everything in his chart. I just wanted to throw out a couple nuggets of information just to kind of get the ball rolling and to shed some light on some things that I see, okay? So y'all make sure you let me know what you thought of this reading. Make sure you share this video with family, friends. Share this with everybody who going to that B2K reunion concert. Not that it matters. I mean, you can enjoy it and Fizz be sis. You know, it doesn't matter. Either way it goes, he's still fine. He still looks good. The fuck good. You hear me? And with that being said, y'all, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time,